morning, Commanders. How are we doing today? Hope you're all doing very well. A little while ago, I had one of my Discord members, Nay. Hey, bud, thanks for all you do on the channel. I really appreciate you, by the way. He asked a question, and I put a video out about it after talking to some players. And the question was this. It was basically, what kind of hurdles are there when you jump from 39 to 40? I think there's a lot of players that are sitting in that 40, or sorry, that 39, jumping to 40, getting ready to jump to 40. And his basic question was, what regrets do you think there are from players who have gone to 40? For various things, various reasons. I asked a lot of players, and the general idea that came out of that was, well, we just didn't have a miner that could reach deep space. There wasn't really a big concern on having ships that could do events, doing SMS events, and now even the spend events, when I talked to them, it wasn't as much of a concern. Now I will say that going to 40 seemed to be tough on the spend events because they were just harder, there were more people there, those kind of things. But I think the players generally felt like the value of going to 40, getting a new ship, new research, and all that seemed to outweigh it probably. But it wasn't something that most people brought up. So that is something that I think I tried to emphasize or talk about, at least in that video, and as I've talked with other players, that seems to be a consensus. Since then, Scopely has come out with mechanics, or I should say loops in the game. The Zindi, the Silent Hostels are two prime examples, and I think the Gorn are probably in that same area of difficulty, perhaps, but especially I felt it with the Zindi and the, well, I guess I'm feeling it with the Gorn too, but the Zindi and the Silent Hostels were the first two that really just hit hard. So the problem that we have with those is it adds more detail, I should say, to my recommendation beforehand. So I want to get this video out there because there are certain spots in the game that I would say you don't want to camp at. You don't want to sit at the ops level like historically some people have done and just kind of worked on research and ships and whatnot. Took advantage because as you go up an ops level, typically the battle pass rewards are better, the refinery slightly better, even though refinery is never very good. The events pay out more, and so things like that were something to consider. So I want to talk about those dead spots today and kind of give you my recommendation. So this is kind of my whole warning bell, flashing bells, emergency lights going off, sound out to the players of watch out for these areas because they will be difficult, or they potentially can be difficult, okay? So some of it I'm aware of, and some that I may have to ask the feedback from the community. I think I'm probably right on this, but when you're going from 39 to 40, I noticed a lot of players that had struggles with the Zindi at that time. I talked with a lot of players at that time because even though they had a G3 Epic ship, they didn't have, I mean, even if it was a okay tiered, it'd have to be decently tiered. It didn't seem to have the ability to put enough damage out as compared to, say, a G4 Uncommon ship. And so you don't actually get the ability to build the G4 Uncommon, even if you have the reputation and the blueprint, until you get to Ops 42 in the shipyard there. And so my recommendation is to not camp at, go from 39 to 40. If you go to there, you won't be able to do the loops. Even though Scopely says that 40 plus, you could do the Zindi. So my recommendation is don't sit at 40 if you can. Plan out and save up your latinum, save up your steel, save up all your resources you're gonna need, and you can actually go. You can go here to Spots Club, and you can actually click on requirement, and you can actually plug in your details by logging with your Scopely ID, and it will actually tell you what you need to go to the next ops level. You just click on requirement and you type in operations, and it will say, okay, this is how many resources you're going to need to go up. So really useful tool. I highly recommend it. for all of this. The next range is a guess for me because I don't know this too well and I didn't have a chance to talk to too many players in this range. But I'm having a similar issue where I'm sitting at right now. So I would say as you're getting ready to go to 45 from 44 to 45, just because that's where I was at in my range, that when I went to 55, let me show you an example here with the artifacts. And this is for the silent hostels, but my level range is 55 to 60, so I have to kill a level 55 to do this, and I'm finding it very hard without my Sanctus, without a Sanctus, or I should say a G5 rare ship, which I can build Ops 56 to be able to actually do this loop. I can kill like 4 or 5 hostels and that's it. And so I'm assuming that the same thing happens when you go to 45. And someone, if you can confirm that in the comments below for everyone, that would be fantastic. But I think when you're going from 44 to 45, you may want to consider what it's going to take to go to 46 and just skip 45 altogether. Otherwise, you might run into the same problem here and not be able to do the loop. Okay, the next one is when you were going from 49 to 50. And a lot of this, remember that Scopely's designed it in a way to push us to spend more because we're going to get frustrated, not able to do loops. It's just the facts, and we hate it, and we may want to burn down Scopely, but, you know, pitchforks, torches, all that kind of fun stuff, right? But it's their way to push spending, and so we have to kind of be smart about our moves up. So I would say as you're getting close to 49, I would say make sure you have a 46 rare ship, at least one, and that you have planned it in such a way that you have at least tier 5, probably tier 6 at a minimum, before you go up to 49, just to make sure you can do all the loops. The higher the better, obviously. And you'll have to balance that out with your own gameplay and what you want to do. But this is a game of patience, I guess. But when you go from 49 to 50, that's another dead spot. And what do I say by that? We used to have a recommendation that players should skip the G4 Epic, like I went with the Enterprise. And the recommendation was to skip it because it cost like 1 million credits. Now with the Epics, or the G4 ships, you can use the Away Team store to source those blueprints as long as your operations level is high enough. So my recommendation is two thoughts. One, either save the credits and go through the Away Team store and everything so that you have the blueprints you need, so when you go to 50, you can go straight to the shipyard and build that epic ship so you can do those loops. There was one player that I talked to in Discord and they said, what are my options if I've gone to 50 and I don't have an epic ship? Well, my comment was, well, it's going to be very hard for you to be able to do those, so you're going to have to get those blueprints, or you're going to have to put off on the loops, something. So the advice from me is no longer to skip those epic ships, but to plan out and save up the blueprints through the Away Team store and through faction credits so you can actually build it and still do those loops. The only other option you have there is to plan it out so you can actually jump from 49 to 53, which is a huge jump. So at 53, you can build your G5 uncommon ship, as long as you have the reputation, faction credits, and all that good stuff. Because of the G5 ships, currently you can't use the Away Team store to source any of those blueprints. So good thing is at G5 they offer these the G5 epic credits, regular epic credit turn-ins. Box gives you a fair amount of faction credits and blueprints, so it does help. But that's another dead spot that I'd be aware of. And then the last one that I've come across is when you go from 54 to 55, like where I'm at. I didn't plan it out. I guess I was just trying to make do with what I had and get by, because I was able to do my events just fine. But these new loops, not able to with the ships I have. So I have tier 4 ships. I have a Corvus that's tier 4. but it takes enough rare material that I figured, you know what, I'm just going to try and spend that on my, because I was close enough and I had the faction credits, I thought I'll just make do with what I have for now, and then I'll push to 56 and get the spend my rare stuff on my 56 ship, the Sanctus. But unfortunately they came out the loops, and that's kind of screwed me over lately. So that's a little frustrating, but it is what it is, right? So so when you go from 54 to 55, I would recommend trying to save so you can actually jump straight to 56. So those are the dead spots. The tough part here, and I'm just going to be brutally honest, is that as I'm making this video, and even as I thought about beforehand, I fully realized that making recommendations like this to jump multiple ops level is not for everyone. I did want to make sure you knew, though. I wanted to shout out the warning bell and the alarm, set that out there so that you know that is my recommendation if you can do it. If you can't, then you're just going to be in a position where you can't really do the loops very effectively. I suppose the alternative to jumping all the way from 54 to 56 would be to make sure you have spent the rare materials to get your ship, to get your uncommon G5 ship up to probably tier 6. Make sure you have a strong enough ship that can actually do the loops. So that's the only thing I can say, is that you have to kind of try and balance things out. And it's frustrating that Scopely is kind of making us do that, because the regular mechanics in the game, the other loops, they're not that hard for a lower tier ship. You can get away with it, but they're kind of making us slow down, I would say. Which is kind of interesting to me, and I'm just going to be brutally honest here, but that's interesting to me because you would think that they would need more people in higher ops brackets, and maybe I'm missing something here, but it seems like they need more players in higher ranges so that the whales have people to blow up. I guess the whales can punch down pretty hard, but as far as like competing in SLBs, spend events, things like that, they need more people in those ranges to make it more competitive, I suppose. So anyways, those are my thoughts. Think about those ranges, think about where your ships are at, and consider, you know, planning ahead and investing in your ships more, so that when you go to those particular dead spots, that you are not hurting to be able to do those loops and miss out on those benefits if that's something that's of interest to you. So anyways, hopefully this video is helpful. I'd love to hear your comments and feedback below. Once again, in case you missed my last video, I will be building the Sanctus on the live stream, probably 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow, Saturday. So if you're around and you want to see that and the cost and all that live on live stream, I'll be doing that on Twitch. So looking forward to that, and gonna try and make getting on Twitch more of a regular thing, and trying to make it fun for all those who join. So I'd love to see you there, and thank you so much once again for all your support in whatever fashion that you're able to do that. Really appreciate each and every one of you and all that you do, and well, growing this community into something that we can really help each other in this game become better. So anyways, thank you so much, and have a good day.